Final round of the 2012 FIA World Rally Championship in the picturesque Costa Dorada region of Spain. A recent switch to a mixed surface format for the RACC Rally d'Espana has thrown up a unique challenge to finish the season, and the opening day on the dirt provided a spectacular start. Torrential rain greeted the drivers on day one. It didn't stop the fans from turning up, but it would stop some of the world's best. Jari Matti Latvala was the fastest out of the blocks. He took the early lead with a win on stage one, but with the increasingly wet conditions, he wouldn't be at the top for long. That honour passed to Oyt Tanak after taking his first ever podium finish in Sardinia. The Estonian was out to prove it wasn't just a fluke, and despite a spin in stage one, after stage two, he was leading. Meanwhile, the factory Citroens of Sebastian Loeb and Mikko Hirvonen were regretting opting for a lower road position after dominating qualifying. With most of the WRC field running ahead on the road, the stage surface had turned into a slippery mud bath. And with the factory cars struggling, it was turning into a battle of the young guns, and Mads Østberg was once again the man in the hot seat. The Norwegian took the advantage and pinned his name at the top of the leaderboard. But the increasingly treacherous conditions were beginning to bite. It was a lively WRC debut for Flying Dutchman Hans Weiss Jr. He had a spin on stage one before hitting a barrier on two. He got away with both. But Thierry Neuville, well, he didn't. The Belgian nailed a rock on two, ripped off a wheel, and he was done for the day. Peter Solberg followed suit 600 metres further up the road. He broke a bolt holding up the track rod control arm and spent the rest of the morning contemplating with Thierry.
Hit that ditch there, and like a few other cars here, and then they broke the TCA.
Sometimes you cannot explain how it can happen. It's so big disappointment.
Well, two of the big guns were out, and they wouldn't be the last to feel the Spanish sting. Local driver Danny Sordo went off the road on stage 3, and his day was over too. Evgeny Novikov had started well, claiming his first stage win for DMAC tyres on stage 4, but the celebrations were short-lived. He retired on the following stage. And Chris Atkinson's last appearance for Mini Team Portugal didn't start as intended, a broken differential ending his day one campaign. While Brazilian World Rally Team driver Daniel Oliveira cut his day short with this off on stage 3. Meanwhile, Hans Weiss's close saves continued when he felled a tree on stage 5. Once again, he got away with it to finish the day in 9th overall.
It is incredible, you know, this is my second time I have conditions like this, so I have to learn some big things.
Well, another WRC rookie, Jarkko Nakara, in the second of the Pro Drive Run Minis, was having a good run despite stopping to change a puncture on 5. The Finn ended his day in 7th. And up at the front, Oyt Tanak was struggling to cling on to Mads Østberg, and the spin on stage 5 dropped him down to 5th. But the Citroen boys capitalising. Hirvonen was up to 3rd, but was coming under increasing pressure from Latvala. But after a difficult day, it was Latvala who went to bed in 3rd overall for the factory Ford team. And meanwhile, Sebastian Loeb found himself up to 2nd. But the star of the show was Norway's Mads Østberg. He leads after his most successful day yet in the seat of his Fiesta RS WRC.
Yeah, I think it's been a really good day. Extremely difficult, but we seem to cope with the extremely difficult conditions quite well.
Well, Østberg's advantage at the end of the opening day was up to almost half a minute, but he was had the formidable threat of Loeb and Latvala lying just behind. Hirvonen is 4th at the start of day 2, with Tanak rounding out the top 5. So with the brutal gravel leg taking no prisoners, the following day would move on to Catalonia's traditional smooth tarmac roads. A completely different challenge for the WRC's finest in terms of driving style. But first, a big job for the teams who needed to change the cars from a gravel setup to tarmac on Friday evening for the switch in the surface ahead.
Basically, you know, when you run on gravel, it's a slippery surface and it's obviously bumpy, so you need to run the car a lot higher and with softer suspension to pick up the grip. So when you go on tarmac, you drop the car a lot lower.
It's a big difference. It's the grip level is a lot higher. You brake a lot later, you brake a lot deeper into the corner, and you are not having any oversteers and things like that.
They are really smooth, a really nice tarmac and surface all the time, and in very rare there's a place where you can cut, so the roads normally they stay completely clean, so it's really nice. It's like racing driving all the time.
Well, all changed then for the second of 3 days of the RACC Rally d'Espagne. The general location remains the same though, with the 3 stages used on leg 2 snaking out to the northwest of host town Salou, and including 2 runs through the 46-kilometre El Priorat test, one of the longest of the entire season. And this is the order the crews will take on the stages. Rally leader Usberg leads them away, followed by the chasing Loeb and Latvala. Further back, Solberg, Sordo and Neville will restart today, but face a daunting task to get back into the point-scoring places. WRC debutants Hans Weiss and Jarkko Nakara starting 11th and 12th. So on we go then, Julian. Stage 7, first stage of the morning, La Musara. Different sort of morning, look, blue skies.
But it was still a bit damp out there, and again, tyre choice is going to be a little bit tricky because you've got the 48Ks coming up. What do you take, softs or hards? You can only take 6 in total, so it's going to be difficult. This man personally rode, I believe he would have preferred to be further back just to see some lines from somebody else.
And you know what, he would have preferred consistent conditions as well. So difficult as a privateer with a lack of testing to deal with this changeable grip we've got out here this morning.
Well, that's it. You've got to kind of maintain what you got, and you've got this man, Sebastian Loeb, Daniel Lehner chasing you. That is scary in itself.
It's the scariest thing, leading a tarmac rally, being hunted down by Sebastian Loeb. But you know, Usberg will take great confidence, Jules, from his performance on day 1.
Well, that's it, but this man hasn't been beaten here since 2005. You can see the racing lines. You see the white line is obviously the middle of the road. They're just using every inch of tarmac.
Nice wide bit of road this, Jules. Is this typical of the day ahead?
Yeah, we're on the descent down here. There's a load of hairpins towards the finish. Jari-Matti Latvala, what can he do? He has been improved massively. Most improved driver on tarmac in the last few years.
I think he has been. He's got a big job to do over the next 2 days. He's desperate to take 3rd place, Julian, in the Drivers' Championship. To do that, he has to get ahead of Usberg.
That's it. He needs a strong start, maybe to try and rattle Mads. I'll tell you what, the splits were looking good for Mads. He was only a couple of seconds down on the splits to Loeb. That was incredible.
Yeah, an impressive start to the day for young Mads Usberg. I have to say, I thought that he would be well beaten through this opening test. That wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case against Loeb. Jari was coming quicker from behind. 11:40.8 for Mads in the first one.
Mads ended the first one on 1. You happy with everything?
I was quite careful. We had some splits from Loeb, and we were quite equal with Loeb, so we tried to stabilize on that speed. But then I got the split from Jari towards the end, and he is quite a lot in front, so...
Certainly a decent start to the morning for Usberg in comparison to this man, Sebastian Loeb. He didn't really come out the blocks too quickly this morning, Julian.
Well, no, as you pointed out very quickly, the inconsistent conditions, you can so easily make a mistake. On tarmac, you've got to be so aggressive. It's grip, nothing. You know what I mean? And Loeb, as he did yesterday, wasn't 100% happy. Maybe just kind of let's get through it. And I was very surprised how little time he took out of Mads. It was a 40.8, wasn't it, that we're looking at? The splits were showing at about 2 seconds as he was heading towards us at the finish. Long corner, and here's a corner here. That's where Gigi Gali a few years ago went off. There wasn't the Armco there, and he went off onto the outside. A couple of seconds quicker.
I've done my best, but I think we have a bit too hard setup for this condition. But I think it should dry along the stages, so it was a choice at the start, and hopefully it was the right one. But this stage, in all the fast section, I couldn't trust the rear. It was sliding and it was nervous, so I didn't want to take big risk, and we'll see in the next one.
Yeah, don't forget the next one is the long one, Julian. 45 plus kilometres. That's what Loeb set the car up for. But this man, well, if Loeb came out the blocks slowly, this guy shot out the blocks this morning.
He did. He'd had his Weetabix this morning, hadn't he? When the splits came through, I actually checked with the person who gave me them. Don't you mean that Loeb is that fast? He goes, nope, 31.4.
Perfect start for Latvala.
Well, 9.4 better than our leader.
Yeah, you're looking fully focused and sweaty and everything. I'm not surprised. 9.4 out of Osberg.
Yeah, it was a good start. The car was working really well. Very, very happy for the car. Everything was working really well with the car.
Further back though, Hans Weiss Jr. Well, he had an interesting day one in the World Rally Car. Continued this morning, Julian. He's had a few moments out there.
He's doing really, really well. First time in his car. Yeah, the gap might be big, but currently in 7th place. Might just have to wait a little bit longer to try and get 6 with that little mistake.
Just a small one that towards the end of the stage. A little frustrating for Hans Weiss, but they're all just small mistakes. But the big one with the tree. So here we go then, Jules, at the end of the first stage. Osberg still holds on to that lead. Loeb now just 24.9 seconds, but the big mover, Jari-Matti Latvala, he is closing in on the boys in front. So far, so good then for rally leader Mads Osberg, but can he hang on? The asphalt action resumes, and there could be bad news ahead for one of the front runners.
Share all the excitement of the WRC with Total Quartz lubricants.